Hey, it's Greg Milby, community storyteller for Kentucky's Heartland, and welcome into a new feature that we're going to be doing bi-weekly. That guy right there, he is Deputy Judge Executive of Hardin County, Daniel London, and we are going to start talking about what's going on with the county. And I mean, I love the fact that the county wants to be transparent, but we're going to dig down and deep and talk about things that are affecting our community and hear it directly from you. So I do appreciate you offering the time up a couple of times a month to share this with our folks in our county.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I always look forward to being on. Don't necessarily look forward to seeing you, but always do look forward to being on. Nothing else, we have a good time.
Yeah, boy, I feel the love already. Yeah.
So we want to make sure, honestly, that we get out as much information as possible. As you and I were talking beforehand, if I can't answer the questions, then I don't need to be in this business doing this. And we want to be transparent and 100% transparent in what's going on.
Well, we're going to test you on that today because I have a few questions.
I know you will.
All right. So first of all, how are we looking as a county? And COVID-19, we've been dealing with this since March, and families look at their budget and families look at things that are going on and where their stresses are. As a county, it's important that we know a little bit too. So can you talk about some of the hardships maybe that we're having, and maybe even share with us on how the county is holding up
Sure,
financially?
It's still a challenge, as you know. There's a lot of COVID fatigue that we'll call it. People are ready to be over it. Many are already over it, figuratively, of course, and literally in some circumstances. But we have fared pretty well, county government wise, given the situation. Of course, as you know, if you get down to the patient numbers, we're right at 900 positive cases in Hardin County right now. And put that in perspective, we have roughly 110,000 residents. So that's less than 1% of our population has contracted COVID. So we are in a much better position here in Hardin County as far as infections go, as many other communities. Certainly be in prayer for those who are being treated, and certainly grieve those who've lost their lives as a result. So bottom line is, as you go about your business, be cognizant of your surroundings and the fact that it is still a threat, particularly if you have the comorbidities that the CDC cautions you against. Make sure that you're taking appropriate precautions to protect yourself. And if you're 65 and above, you need to be a little extra cautious just because of your age, because you are in a category where it makes you a little bit more susceptible. Now, switching over to fiscal picture. So I want to hit that first as it relates to Hardin County government. The fiscal year before last, so it would be fiscal year 19, our EMS, Emergency Medical Services, did very well budget-wise. Leading up to that, they had cut their deficit spending. So the money that comes out of the general fund to support them in to make up for the deficit that they have after they bill all their patients had reduced from $750,000 to $250,000. FY19, which is phenomenal progress to say the least. FY19, they ended basically breaking even. It's a $50,000 loss. In EMS, that is break even all day long, because that business is never going to be a moneymaker. This year, as a result of COVID, and it goes to the fact that as we look at this situation, everything's backwards from where you think it would be. You would think the EMS runs would have increased, but they did the opposite. They decreased significantly. And as a result of that, we ended the fiscal year almost $900,000 in the hole, setting a record that we obviously didn't want to set as a result of that. So our run volume decreased significantly, obviously, then the billings decreased and so on. So that was a tough challenge that we had in that regard. The good news is, we've put together some deals that you've heard in the media, some public-private partnerships relating to Fort Knox, trash related, as well as revamping the partnership that we have with Santec landfill. That new money helped offset that, which was a great advantage, obviously, of course. You look at the detention center budget and the great job that Josh Lindblom has done, and you and I will probably talk about that a little bit later. Josh took a little bit of a hit on income at the jail. So as a result of COVID, the governor made the decision to release some state inmates. We get income at the county level for those inmates. So we lost about $500,000 in income there at the detention center as a result of releases, COVID-related releases. Now the good news is Josh is a fiscal monster. His performance is literally second to none. He cut his expenses just shy. I'm talking pennies shy of $1 million at the detention center. He has a $9 million budget. So that obviously, you do the quick math, that's more than 10%. Anytime that a government agency can cut their budget 10%, cut the expenses, is a phenomenal accomplishment. So he would have actually had his income been where it needed to be. His P&L would have come out well over $1 million in terms of what he cut. It balanced out to be about $600,000, which again is still a heck of an accomplishment of what he pulled off. So we have sustained it. We have weathered the storm physically. EMS is back on the mend, so to speak, and the run volume's going back up. That's a two-edged sword, of course. You'd rather them be idle and not busy, but they are. So obviously, we want to make sure that fiscal management continues. We're not in a situation like a lot of communities. We don't have a restaurant tax. We don't have a hotel tax. We don't have an occupational tax. We just have property tax and then user fees, if you will. And so we're just not going to get hit that hard on an income side as many communities are going to. The last point I would make, I would ask everyone to still be in prayer for our first responders. So I'm talking about our detention center employees. I'm going to lump them in there because they're a first responder, in my opinion. Our EMS personnel, our 911 personnel, and our sheriff's department. We've recently, I don't want anyone to take this as you've got to get worried or worked up, but we've had a recent spike in cases at EMS. We've got 5 people off right now with COVID contractions. Prior to that, we'd only had onesies and twosies. We've had a couple in 911 contracted. There have been a few at the sheriff's department, been limited, but we've had a little bit of an outbreak in EMS in recent days. I think we've got that contained. There's no threat to service. We have a good reserve force. We have a phenomenal volunteer fire department network here in Hardin County. So we are prepared to respond to anything that needs to be responded to, but we certainly do not need any more risk or problems in that area.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot to think about and a lot to organize and get together. So yeah, thoughts and prayers for those.
Those are the kind of things that keep you up at night.
Yeah, I imagine. So back to Big Josh. Big Josh, a personal friend. I mean, I think he's a personal friend for a lot of folks. He has done, in my opinion, a great job as a jailer. But that is just my opinion. $1 million is a lot of money to cut from a budget. So how do you cut $1 million? Was there services cut? I mean, were things taken away from the inmates? I mean, how exactly do you save $1 million in a budget?
Yeah, I tell you, this guy is phenomenal. We have gotten to be personal friends, and I want to point out, I'm going to get a smidge political here, and I don't want anyone to take that the wrong way, but he's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I don't give two duds about politics. Our issues here in Hardin County and our solutions are bipartisan. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. Doing the right thing isn't about party registration. And I'm telling you, Josh, I hope he's in there a long time because he has done a phenomenal job, not just on budget numbers, but on community service. His mowing crews are out. He's picking up more trash than, or his inmate labor is picking up more trash than it's ever been picked up. So the county's cleaner. It's neater. All of those things he has contributed. So that doesn't just show up in dollars. I told Mary Alford at News Enterprise a few months ago. He reminds me a lot of my dad. I always said my dad can make a penny worth a dollar. He was that tight. But he got mileage out of everything. And Josh was the same way. He missed $1 million cut by about $40,000, and I thought the guy was going to go into depression. He wanted to hit that $1 million mark so bad, and you don't see that in government. In government, you have the bureaucratic thinking that, hey, if it's in my budget, I've got to spend it, and he's right the opposite. I don't have to spend it. I don't want to spend it, and I'm not going to spend it if I don't have to. There were no cuts in services. He gets out and barters. He has done some trading on equipment, going to places that restaurants that may be going out of business or whatever the case may be, to see what he can get on the cheap that are still that's still operable. He's gotten in there and reviewed some maintenance issues. He's found a much cheaper way of doing it. We had a water system issue there some time ago that was estimated to cost several thousand. I mean, we're talking like 40,000. He ended up getting that solved for about 5,000. So the guy gets in there and finds the savings, and it's tremendous, because that is a tough business, absolutely tough business. And he came in on, when he took office, he had 6 months of someone else's, the previous jailer's budget to operate off of, and he cut about 700,000 out of that budget. So it's remarkable what he's been able to accomplish.
Well, I will tell you, as a member of the Hardin County Fair Board, I think he has done a great job helping us maintain the fairground, which is being used by, organizations. I think there's a dog show coming there soon. You've got the pageants. There's cross country meets that are held out there, and the inmates and Josh and the whole crew, they have done a great job making that place look absolutely beautiful.
And those are the things, Greg, that you can't quantify. What the success of that is. We have a lot of people, obviously, as you know, that the public may not think about, outside our community that comes to our fairgrounds. Now, I'm going to admit, I've gone to other counties' fairgrounds where I was like, oh, this is not too good. It leaves you with a bad impression of the entire community when you do that. So he has what he has done at the fairgrounds, for example, which is one of those gateways in our community that other people see. He has really made that look sharp, helped supported what you all have done, and just taken that to a whole new level that gives everyone, whether you're from here or not, a whole new appreciation for Hardin County.
All right, so now I am going to put myself in a solo screen here, because this is where I get. You like that look, don't you?
It's making me a little nervous. That's
you better be. Let me turn my microphone.
Last time you did it, you had some sort of contest or something for me. It was one answer thing.
All right, so here we go. What is up with these orange garbage cans? Can you explain? That is like the most controversial thing that's going on in this county right now. Is why are they orange? And that's why I want to ask you this, because I am sure there is a reason why we have orange garbage cans. And I'm just going to tell you, you know me, I'm a frugal guy.
Yeah.
Now, during COVID, I just bought 2 brand new cans myself. And then they bring me some pumpkins. So, so talk to me here.
Well, yeah, coming from a guy that has Louisville Cardinals over his shoulder, I know you were none too excited about getting the orange can. We have about 15,000 accounts, trash related accounts. I had one person to message me that he didn't get his can, and he was upset about it because he's a Tennessee Volunteer fan, and so I knew then I was going to have a major problem because obviously we this is cat country more so than Cardinals, but we're red and blue, not politically, but from basketball. So now we have these Tennessee Volunteer orange cans, and it hasn't set well. I've taken a lot of cussings in my life, but never dreamed they would be over trash cans or the number of them. There's a perfectly good explanation for them, and I know they don't match your house. I know that's not everyone's favorite color, but I want you to look at it from this perspective. It is strictly a safety measure. So we have Red River waste transport crews on highly traveled roads. So I'm going to use St. John Road. I live off St. John. It's a perfect example, windy and hilly. Under the best of circumstances, it's not the safest road. When you have orange trash cans out, we are conditioned as a society that when we see orange, we slow down. Whether we're talking about a stoplight, we're talking about a construction zone, whatever the case may be. We've had too many close calls of people hitting trash crews. And so, and I'll say not people make mistakes all the time, and we don't always do the right things. So sometimes our Red River crews don't have the PPE on that they should, and the reflective vest. So as an added defense, the orange trash cans were deployed to condition folks that, okay, this is trash day, because the green ones kind of faded into the background, which is good from an aesthetic standpoint, but not from a safety standpoint. So now when you see orange trash cans, it just automatically clicks mentally for you to slow down. And we've already had that feedback that it has worked in that regard. So that was the key purpose of those orange trash cans.
So was this at the recommendation of Red River, or was this something that the county decided?
It was at the recommendation of Red River as we were doing the contract negotiations, and we concurred with that. We felt that was a very good move, because, again, when we're talking about our road crew or whoever, we use orange to alert people and to understand that you need to slow down. And we have some unsafe roads out there, and at the end of the day, we want everyone to go home healthy and safe. And if we can do something such as this to help make that happen, then we want to take advantage of it.
Man, that is lame. I was looking for a better answer to that. I wanted some kind of
I'm sorry I couldn't give you anything juicy.
Safety. I mean, I get it. Now, granted, I mean, it does look very interesting when you pull out of your neighborhood and there are orange cans everywhere. And I think after a while we'll get used to them somewhat, but that is one of the most talked about items that we have in Hardin County, outside of a goat a few years ago.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other.
I had enough of that last year, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I'm still scarred. The orange trash cans are going to make Halloween interesting.
Yeah, I think
I already know. I've already heard from one neighborhood out in Ronnieville that they were going to have a trash can painting contest. So it could get real interesting.
So it's sticking with that and talking about, trash and things. Recycling is very important in our environment. And I know there are a lot of people that recycle, and there are a lot of people that have large amounts of cardboard in their garage right now because of the recycling trailers. Explain why our recycling trailers are not open, and if you have a timeline, when will we expect them maybe to be available again?
Unfortunately, I don't have a timeline. I wish I did. It's one of the larger bummers, if you will, of the COVID situation, that our recycling program is temporarily suspended. The result of that is all of our material is processed by the Meade County Recycling Center. So going back in history a little bit, several years ago, area counties got together and said, "Hey, we need a recycling center." Each county should not have their own, because frankly, it's a zero-sum game. You're not going to make any money off of it. It's going to cost you money. So as a result of that, entered into an agreement. Meade County was the central location of all those counties for the material to go to. As part of that money-saving effort, Meade County uses inmate labor to sort the material. So obviously we have the semi-trailers. You go in, you put your material in a designated box, and then we shut the doors to that and take it to Meade County. Upon arrival, you have inmate labor that sorts through that material, make sure it's in the right place. Then they process it and they take it to Louisville, I believe it is, to sell that product. So until we have the inmate labor back, Meade County does not have the workforce to be able to sort through that material. We have the same issue here because the Department of Corrections, as a result of COVID, has said we are not going to allow any inmates out into the community work programs. And these are work programs that they have interaction with the public, because they don't want to take a chance on, which would be an absolute utter disaster if an inmate contracts COVID out in the community, then brings that back to the detention center, or vice versa. So no one wants that. It'd be irresponsible in a lot of ways. So until we have that inmate labor pool back, unfortunately, we're not going to be operating. Now, the good news is, once we get back up and operating, one of the key issues has been we've only had that one recycling location on Peterson Drive. We are actually going to expand that we'll have 8 locations around the county once we do get back open. So we are expanding that program. It had atrophied over the years. It's part of the renegotiation of the franchise hauler contract with Red River. They're going to take that program over. It's going to operate much more efficiently. And so good news is coming on that horizon when we get back open. But I have no idea at this point, unfortunately, when that'll be. Now, if you want to personally take your material over to Meade County, they will accept it. They can do that because they have the manpower. They can sort it on an individual basis. They just can't do the bulk sorting, such as a semi-trailer.
Well, I mean, that is at least a silver lining there, that if you want to take it to Meade County, you can do that. Because there are a lot of people that they're very adamant about recycling, and they've got a lot of cardboard in their garage, and you can load that up in a truck or in a minivan and take it over there and do that. So
absolutely. I know it's a trip, but it's the right thing to do if you can do it.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that point where we can talk more about it and have actually a date here coming up soon. Hey, Daniel, thanks for the time, man. I know.
Anytime. Always enjoy it. I really do.
So we'll do this again. I'll come up with some more hard-hitting questions. And hey,
I have no doubt.
If you're a citizen of Hardin County and you've got a question and you want to ask, you can email me, greg@teamhcc.com. That's greg@teamhcc.com. And we will entertain that question when we do this bi-weekly interview. So good deal. Wonderful. Daniel, again, appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, man. Always good to see you.
All right. He's Deputy Judge Executive of Hardin County, Daniel London. And we'll come up with a fancy name for this program. We haven't done that yet, but we'll come up with something snazzy and maybe even has some snazzy graphics on it too. All right. I'm Greg Milby, community storyteller, and this is Kentucky's Heartland. Thanks for joining us.